Hello, dear listener. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. I welcome you once again. This is the 10th episode of Mogobe's Nuggets of Wisdom. Today I'm going to talk about strategic planning and why it is important. I'm going to give you 10 nuggets of wisdom having to do why this is a very important subject. Strategic planning, for those who don't know, means a process by which a company gets together with its members and does forecasting, decides on the allocation of its resources, and generally plans the time ahead. And I'm going to tell you 10 nuggets of wisdom as to why strategic planning is very important, even if you're a small company. 1, every company needs a strategy to grow from day one. In other words, for purposes of prioritizing, aligning its team, and for scaling. Every company has to scale from day one. By that I mean that if you are not growing as a company, you are probably stagnating and therefore automatically dying. Number 2, the process of strategic planning is not a place for fixed answers, but for asking provocative questions about the future. You're looking to the future of your company and you're going to ask probing questions. You're going to engage in a process of constructive criticism of the systems that you're applying. Number 3, the purpose of this exercise is also to find a working balance between change and momentum. What do I mean by that? Change is inevitable. Every industry is changing, every business is changing, people are coming and going, and ways and systems of doing things are constantly changing. So it's important for the leadership of the company to strike a balance. A company needs to deal with change, and at the same time it needs to maintain its momentum going forward. So that is the purpose for which strategic planning is meant. Number 4, strategic planning helps you to make a big picture corrections going forward. Inevitably, as a company grows, and as a company evolves, there will be changes and corrections that you need to do, and you can only do that if you have a bird's eye view of the company and what it does for you to plan forward. Number 5, you need to take your team out at least once or twice a year. That's another nugget of wisdom that I think is important. Certainly in my company, we meet once a month and have a strategic planning exercise of some kind. But ideally, one needs to go out once or twice a year with key team members and to analyze the business and to consider what needs to be done. 6, opportunity cost. In other words, you need to look at what you are doing as against what you could be doing. Is what you are doing more important than what you ought to be doing? And then you analyze the opportunity cost in terms of short-term, medium, and long-term consequences, and make the right choices and adjust between those two. Number 7, what is your singular overriding goal? What is the one thing that you want to corral and arrange the objectives and the focus of the company around? In other words, what is the company planning for the next 5 to 10 years? I've read somewhere that in Japan they plan in terms of 100 years, whereas in the West they plan in terms of the next quarter, the next 3 months, and so on. I think here in Africa it would help us to do what the government does. The government comes up with 5-year development plans. So we could have 5-year goals, and then you could project over 5, 10, or 15 years. That is what you do in terms of strategic planning. And then number 8, what is it that your team intends to accomplish? In other words, what is the goal for each team member? In other words, what you want to do is you want to also let the team members know what's in it for them. They have to own the plan. They have to own the strategic plan and know what's in it for them. What is the benefit they're going to get? So your job as the CEO or as the presenter, sometimes you'll be using an external person, is to make sure they articulate the long-term vision of the company and how it relates to the individuals within the company. Number 9, do a SWOT analysis. I know people are used to the SWOT analysis, but a SWOT analysis stands for strengths, obstacles, opportunities, and threats. Whereas the SWOT analysis is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Nowadays, the movement is to go away from the idea of weaknesses and to see those obstacles as opportunities. In other words, you look closely at the obstacle and you find a nugget of wisdom, and you'll find a way outside the difficulty that you are having. So it's a SWOT analysis as opposed to a SWOT analysis. SOOT. Number 10. What is the nugget of wisdom I can share with you in terms of strategic planning? Number 10, that is important. Find the sweet spot. What really works for you and your company? It is is a challenge here is for you to find the sweet spot, a point, something that you've identified and system that you've identified that keeps working and creating the most value. I will go through on another video presentation in future, and a future show on how you identify a sweet spot, and some of it relates to the 80-20 rule. In other words, as you know, 20% of what we do gives 80% of the results in terms of the Pareto principle. I'll deal with that later in another future episode. But find a sweet spot, and that's what you do in terms of strategic planning. That is the objective, and that's number 10 nugget of wisdom I want to share with you. But as always, I have a bonus for you. I think when it's all said and done, what you want to do is create a one-page strategic plan. After you've gone through volumes and volumes of whatever material may be presented to you during that the number of sessions you've gone through. Some strategic plan exercises may take a day, some may take even a week, some may take any length of time in between. But my point is that there's a lot of paper that is generated throughout. So the challenge for you is to condense all that into one page. So if the 11th nugget of wisdom I want to leave with you is that find a way of incorporating all of these things into one page so that they can easily be accessible, so that if even a cleaner, even a janitor, anybody in the organization can look at that one page and know that this is part of the strategic plan. Thank you very much, dear listener and viewer. That is all I have for you this episode. And please take this opportunity, if you can, to subscribe to our channel, and indeed share, and indeed, if you want, like what we are giving to you. Thank you very much indeed.